Hey, I'm Juliana and I'm hanging out with Rob from Front Row Live.
First and foremost, I want to congratulate you with every release that you've had so far has been better than the last. And I feel
Oh,
like that's such a difficult thing to do for artists. I feel like especially when you're working on that album, where it's like you need to do something better than that debut and better than that sophomore record. But you've
totally.
been doing this with your singles, and now with this new single, Mixed Signals. It's just again, you stepped it up. Your your vocals are insane. Like
Yeah.
um, I really love these like electronic kind of like undertones that you kind of have throughout the song. And talk to me a little bit about this and talk to me about like that creative process for this particular song.
Yeah, first off, thank you so much for saying that. That means a lot because it is an intense process, releasing a new song, you never know how people are going to react to it, but that's always the goal. I always want to create something better than what I just released. So I'm happy to hear it resonates with you. So Mixed Signals definitely is a different vibe than the other songs I released before because it is kind of I wrote it when I was really angry. And normally the other songs I've written, they were written in a form of sadness or like delusion of happiness too. So there were more of these like raw, more intense, like sad and happy emotions, whereas this one was coming from like this anger side. So I feel like dancing to it kind of releases more of those energies that I need. So I wanted the production to kind of follow suit with that. I needed it to be something where a drop comes in and you want to just dance and you want to let loose and sing along. And I really wanted to get obviously the phrase mixed signals stuck in people's head because that's the whole premise of the entire song. So that's why we repeat it so many times throughout the song. And it is a different production. It's not as bubbly pop as Call It Quits, for example, and it's not as electropop, I would say, as Love Preview. There's kind of like a difference in there's some R&B influence in Mixed Signals as well, and it's meant to kind of be that very empowering fu moment where you're just like, I hate you. And I hope that the person I wrote the song about watches this because he'll know I wrote the song about him. It's pretty obvious. But yeah, I definitely wanted it to be something different. I also want to show that I do have a versatile sound, but also like in the same realm, if that makes sense. Obviously, my tone and style is the same, but I wanted to change up the production so you're not just hearing the same exact thing over and over again. And this actually happens to be my favorite song I'm releasing so far. So I'm really excited about that.
And that's one of the things that sticks out about your music, that it's like it's different within every track. So it's a different kind of style of sound. It's a different kind of style of like production that you kind of put on this. In saying that, is this the same producer that you continue to work with, or do you keep changing the producers up within each single?
Yeah, that's a great question. So the first three songs that I released, the Call It Quits, Burn, Call It Quits Acoustic, and Love, well, I guess four because Call It Quits Acoustic, and then Love Preview. Those were all with one producer who I love dearly. He's super talented and amazing. We met through college. He went to Berklee College of Music, and I went to Emerson, Boston. So, same circles. And Mixed Signals is actually a different producer. He's someone I've grown up with. I've known him since I was in fourth grade and since he was in second grade. So we've genuinely known each other almost our entire lives. He's extremely talented, went to USC, and his partner, his like co-producer, is amazing. They met at USC together, and I met him recently, obviously, but they actually produced this particular track. I originally wrote it just with my guitar. So we really had to build out what it was going to sound like, all three of us together, and they're extremely talented. I will definitely be working with them again moving forward, and with my other guy too. I just love collaborating with other people because it sparks new ideas and new interests as the songs play out. If it's And also with Mixed Signals, I felt like the message made a lot more sense with this particular production style, if that makes sense. Like I knew the
Right.
second I wrote it, I was like, they're going to be perfect for this. Whereas like my other songs in the earlier stages were perfect for the other producer. So it just kind of depends on what I'm writing and what I think makes sense for that direction. And I hope I made the right decision.
I feel like that's a challenge in itself. Like not only searching for the right producer, but knowing that, you know, this sound works perfectly with said producer. Because I feel like that could be like the make or break it moment for that track in general. Like it could be a masterpiece of a single, but if you have the wrong production, like I feel like people will not resonate to it.
No, there's nothing worse than, well, in my opinion, as someone who is not a producer, and I'm a songwriter, a lyricist, a singer, obviously a recording artist. On my end, there's nothing worse than writing a song and having this idea behind it and then sending it over to the production side of things. And then it just sounds completely opposite of what I wanted. And I'm like, no, wait. But that honestly hasn't happened because I love the people I work with. I think they're extremely talented and I've been very lucky with them. So I think the way I explain what I want, it's a really good way for them to understand what direction we want to go in. And they've done an amazing job hitting it on the nail, honestly. So I've been really lucky.
Now with this particular single, like I feel like if any DJ would pick it up and like do like a remix of it, like I feel like your vocals are so perfect for it. And
Oh, yeah.
that's one of the cool things about like electronic music that I personally love is that like that's how I discover a lot of like vocalists, a lot of
Totally.
mainly it's like female singers, but like a lot of them are being discovered because these like electronic artists are like using those vocals
Mhm.
for their music. And I got that kind of vibe with Mixed Signals where it's like if like Zed or anybody like would just be
I was
like
thinking Zed.
yes.
Zed, if you're watching this, fun fact.
Yeah,
That's
like
so
if
funny.
they totally do it, like I feel like it would be so like it would mesh perfectly. You
I
have
love
that kind of
electronic
voice.
music. Well, thank you for saying that. Like that would be, a dream. That's a goal of mine. I love Zed. I love Kygo. I love
Yes.
Diplo. These are like, that would be a dream to do a song with them. And it's gonna happen. I'm manifesting it. I'm putting it out.
Yes, definitely.
Um,
Definitely.
yeah. So, but I think that definitely, I agree. That's a lot how a lot of artists get picked up right now by collaborating with really successful DJs and showcasing their vocals from the production style. A lot of the production is very minimalistic too until the drop hits. So you really get to hear the vocals more than you would maybe in a typical pop song where you have a lot of production filling the space. So if you have like room for space, which you do a lot of times in electronic songs, because you have that space in the beginning and then as soon as the build hits and the drop goes, that's where obviously a lot of the production hits, but you hear the vocalist a lot more before that, I feel like. So I would love to do a song with one of them. I think Mixed Signals would be great too, to just like do a remix for something like that. But that's a goal for sure.
As we move forward with the single, like you
Mhm.
also have a video happening.
Yeah.
You've had various videos in the past, and you know your production for your videos are not it's not anything like cheap or easy. Like you really, it does look cinematic. It does look like you really put your time into this kind of stuff. Being an independent artist, and you know obviously you're focused on writing the music, but you're also a big part of these music videos as well. So how different is this music video for this track, and you know how much say do you have in the videos that you create?
I have a lot to say because as an independent artist, well, for me specifically, I don't want to speak for anyone else, but I want to make sure my brand makes sense. And I went to school for this. I went to college for music marketing. So for me, I want my style, my sound to have a story and make sense. And I don't want to be all over the map where it doesn't make sense, but I also want to show that I'm versatile. So for that reason, I am very invested in the decision-making process and the creative process behind the videos. I'm very, very, very close friends with my director. I actually have known him since 7th grade. It's really crazy. I guess like growing up in LA, I've been really lucky enough to surround myself with really talented creative minds, and that's really benefited me a ton because it is hard as an independent artist. It's not like I have money to just throw away. This is all coming from myself. It's money I've earned, I've saved. So it's really taxing. I mean, there's days where I'm like really stressed out, but for me, I never want to put something out that's mediocre. So it's worth going that extra mile. In terms of this particular music video for Mixed Signals, it definitely is very different than my other music videos. And I think that also has to do with the fact that the other songs are very different than this song. So I wanted everything to kind of be just like very unique. And we actually shot it in a studio in West Hollywood for, 12-hour long day kind of thing. And we really focused on the whole color theme of kind of that play on mixed signals, if that makes sense, where like every outfit I'm wearing is a drastically different color. It's very extreme. It's very intense. We played with lighting because we wanted to showcase with subtle tones. We didn't want to be like so in your face, like here's a light signal or something. Like it was more subdued because I think for me, it just made more sense with the song. The song's electronic. There's a lot going on with the production. We wanted to match that with the crazy lighting, the crazy wardrobe, the crazy hair and makeup. So it's definitely unique. There's not really a linear storyline like my other music videos. It's kind of a little bit all over the place, and that's what it's meant to feel like. We're really focusing a lot on the editing for this one. There's going to be there is a lot of choppy editing. And I'm just I can't even explain how happy it is that it's out because it's definitely my favorite song. And I don't want to pick favorites because I love all of them. But I think this music video, like the second I got home, first off, I was exhausted when we shot this music video, like I am with every music video. But I couldn't get over how happy I was and proud of my entire team for coming together and making this happen, because there were a lot of issues. I mean, there's going on. There were some scares with that. There were financial things that we had to worry about with changing studios. I mean, there were a lot of little things that we had to worry about. And the fact that it all came together to make the video, I'm just so proud of my entire team and grateful that we got to make this happen and release it. And I'm hoping obviously people like it and it resonates.
Now, the fact that this is your most favorite track so far, do you feel like that changes your mindset on your upcoming music? Do you feel like you finally discovered your sound, or do you still want to just mix it up every single time?
That's a good question. I'm currently writing a ballad. So, I mean,
Nice.
I'm a little all over the place. I think there's a lot of consistencies with my lyrics, how I'm writing, why I'm writing. I basically just write about everything I'm going through in that particular moment. And a lot of my melodies are pop melodies. So, there's that consistency throughout everything. And I don't want to come in and be like, I'm going to release a punk song, like that wouldn't make any sense for me. So it's in the same
I think you should try it regardless.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, we'll see. Next up is a gospel track. No, I mean, like, so I think I definitely have that specific sound, and I found that, and I'm really glad that I found that because it's taken me a long time to find that. I've been doing this under the radar for a very long time. And this is the first time I'm really pushing stuff out there because I feel that I have found my sound. And I'm really grateful that I got to that point because it took a long time and a lot of hardships, I would say. But in terms of music I'm releasing moving forward, it's going to continue being a similar sound to everything. I'm obviously going to try and play around with new production styles and see what clicks for people, because that's the beauty of creating music. If I'm going to create the exact same thing every time I release a song, then I'm going to get bored, It's like, that's not fun for me. I like to try different things so that I can explore the music industry. I mean, that's the whole point. That's the whole reason I do music to begin with. Because for me, writing a song is therapeutic. So I don't go into a song necessarily being like, oh, I have to do this sound because I haven't done this sound yet. Or I want to try something crazy because my last one was boring or whatever. I don't necessarily go into a song like that. I kind of just go into it because I'm feeling some type of way. And I'm like, I got to get my guitar and just like let it out, or else I'm going to explode and have a meltdown in my apartment alone. So I think that's kind of where my head is every time I write a song, and it's benefited me so far. And that's what I'm going to continue doing. And yeah, I don't see that changing anytime soon.
So lastly, you said you started this song on the acoustic guitar and then you took it to the production team and created or made it what it is today. Mm-hmm. What kind of challenges did you face during this process of making or of giving this song the identity that it has today?
Yeah, well, originally I had the chorus set as the build up. So the build up now that is mixed signals, I had it as the drop. So we ended up transforming things depending on how the production was, because it was taking too long to get to the drop and it was going to be boring for people. So there was a lot of changes. Yeah, we didn't want to bore anyone. The melodies are exactly the same. I mean, I'm actually planning on doing something on my Instagram and my TikTok, just showing everyone what the acoustic version sounded like versus the real version, because I think it's kind of cool to see the writing process and how it's progressed and stuff like that. But it's cool to look back at that, because I still, have that voice memo of when I was singing it, and I sent it to my 2 producers and I'm like, guys, this is the next song, let's work on it. And they loved it right away. They sent over a rough idea, and after me sending other songs as examples, that's typically how I like to show them what I'm looking for in this particular track. And they built out a baseline track, and I was like, this is great. So we ended up building on top of that to make it flow, because with the production style, again, like we didn't want to bore anyone with how the verses were being written out and the pre-chorus and the build up and the drop. So nothing was transformed on my end, but we almost did, if that makes sense. Like I was struggling for a few days, like, wait a second, yeah, with this production, that's not going to work. So maybe I'm going to have to change this. So I started getting the guitar again, adjusting a million things. I go back to them. We're going to lay down the rough vocals. And I'm like, okay, guys, like, this is what I changed. Let's like try this. Let's try this. Let's try this. And they were like, let's just stick to your original was so much the best. So we stuck to the original version, and they changed the production to fit it. And boom, that's what happened. And we actually slowed down the BPM on the bridge to make the lyrics fit, because if not, I was going to have to adjust the lyrics. Plus, I wanted that part to be really stripped down, and I wanted the lyrics to be really heard, because that's the real FU of the song, if you listen to it. So, yeah, it's cool to see the transformation. We didn't do anything super crazy with the melodies or the lyrics, obviously, but the song wouldn't be what it is if it weren't for the production. So I picked an amazing team, and I'm stoked I get to work with them for sure.
I'm actually surprised that you said you lowered the BPM instead of raising it, because I would have thought, because you started it on an acoustic and then you have this whole like different sound in the production. I would have thought like for sure it was like changed up.
Well, just for the bridge, everything else was faster. Like we just by a hair. I mean, I was singing it really fast.
You must play really, really fast.
Yeah, but for the bridge, like I wanted that to be really stripped down. For some reason, fun fact, writing a bridge is my favorite part of the song ever. I love writing bridges. I also love listening to people's bridges of their songs. Like I will skip through a song just to hear the bridge, because for some reason it just really hits me. Yeah, I don't know why that is. For me, that's always the most emotional part of a song when I'm writing it. That's when I normally tear up or get super heated and angry. It's like that's where the breaking point for me is. And I'm glad that the bridge turned out the way it did, because it's very minimalistic production. I mean, it sounds like the bridge sounds exactly like I was playing it on the guitar kind of thing. And that's the way I wanted it to sound, because everything else is so busy that's like kind of where you need the space a little bit.
Right, you have to focus.
Yeah, exactly. And focus on the lyrics, focus on the meaning of the song. Because sometimes you can just like get caught up in the production and the dancing and whatever. So
yeah,
for me, lyrics are important because I write them. So they come from somewhere. They come from here. So yeah, I definitely I'm really happy with the transformation from the guitar to the production for sure.
That's amazing. Well, congratulations with this new single, and let's make ZEDD happen.
Yes. Yeah, I'm gonna slide into his DMs. No big deal.
And if not ZEDD, I would even consider Gray. I think that would be amazing.
Okay, I'm gonna slide into their DMs too. Like,
there you go. See, you got to make it happen. Got to make it happen.
I can't wait. The inspiration. Well, I'm so glad we got to talk. Thank you for everything. This was amazing, and
absolutely.
I'm glad we got to do it. Hopefully, 2021 too.
Yeah, exactly. Hopefully, the next time we do this, we'll actually be in the studio or like in person and like actually feel the vibes with each other, like while we're talking about like your creative process.
That would be amazing. I'm counting down until I can start doing these in person. That would be so
Seriously.
phenomenal.
Same.
But this will do for now. I'm glad we even got to do this, right?
Exactly. Well, thank you again for taking the time, and let's do it again soon.
Yes, perfect. Thank you so much. Have a good night.